Viewing information within Visual Parsed Kubernetes, or VpK, is accomplished by selecting one of the tabs in the upper portion of the screen. When you select the tab, it will check to see whether or not a snapshot has been captured. If you do not select a snapshot prior to selecting the tab, you'll receive a message indicating so. Here's an example of what will happen if you have not selected a snapshot prior to selecting a tab. This is the message that you'll receive for any of the tabs if you have not selected a snapshot prior to selecting the tab. To return, you simply click outside the message area or click the close, and it will take you to the selected tab. This message does not prohibit you from navigating to that tab, but it's trying to assist you in understanding that you won't be able to view any data. To enable you to view data, you must select a snapshot. We do that by going to the upper portion of the screen, selecting the drop down, and you can select a running cluster or previous captured snapshot. All of the videos in this series will use previously captured snapshots. There are 3 snapshots that we'll use: AAA MCM, Minikube, and the OC demo. Let's get started with viewing security information by selecting the AAA MCM. We've selected that snapshot, connecting to that snapshot, and the information is now available. We'll select security, and again, as all tabs require, you must populate the tab. We'll select RBAC definitions. Now the information you'll see here is available at the cluster level as well as each individual namespace. I'll select cluster level, and you'll see that you have the option of viewing cluster roles, cluster role binding, or subjects. And we'll just go through each of those. Cluster roles, you'll see that there is a cluster. These are the roles that are defined at the cluster level. This is the admin role, and it shows you the associated information with that. Now, one of the UI design principles within VpK is that if there is a text with colored background, click on that, and you'll see that I've clicked on the word admin, and now you see the YAML for that definition. So all of the information that you're seeing here in the textual table, this is the YAML. Again, there's an icon. We can click that icon and drill down, and you can exit those by simply clicking on the exit or clicking outside the pop-up. We'll click cluster role binding. Now, one of the visual aids within viewing cluster role binding is that the cluster role and the cluster role binding, these 2 purple fields, are deliberately purple. At the namespace level are role binding and role, and they're green. So the association of the color helps you realize that we're looking at a role binding that's for the cluster level, the role that's at the cluster level, and then you'll notice that there's different colors for service accounts, users, groups, systems. Also, each one of these can be selected. If I click on the text, you'll see the information for that. Go ahead and exit that, and I'll go to subjects. Now you'll see that there's subjects. We've got groups, clusters. Now, one of the things to remember is that Kubernetes does not actually define the group, the user. That's all defined outside of Kubernetes. So if I select this item, you'll see that there is information available, but I'm using, or what I'm displaying here is the cluster role binding information for that. We'll exit that. Go ahead and close the cluster level, and let's go ahead and select kube public. Let's just see what kube public has available. Here's the roles available. You'll see that there are multiple roles defined at this namespace level. Go back, look at the role binding, and here's a good example of the use of the color, that you can see that the binding is at the namespace level for the binding, and for the role, where this one has a binding at the namespace level, but using a cluster level role. And then the subjects within that. Also available within the security tab is RBAC usage. RBAC usage provides you a view of everywhere a role name has been defined. It will provide that information to you. So you can see that the cluster admin role is being used within the namespace level for these users, and it's used quite extensively within this. So here's an example of where we're using it at the service account level. Now, you'll notice that this is colored text, but there is no colored background. The visualization is text with a colored background. So if you click group, you won't see anything. If you click the kube storage, you'll see that this is where that's used. Again, we'll just scroll back to the top. Now, one quick note is that this legend that's across the top here, that does not show any additional information when you click these names. That's the one exception when you see text with a colored background, is that the legend doesn't show any additional information. That's an overview of what you see within the VpK security tab, visualizing what's inside Kubernetes. Thank you.